Right, we just had a look at the Squad Foundation's Yedlin objectives. Now we're going to be looking at the Squad Foundations, also called Squad Foundations MLS. I said it before, don't know why EA called these two the exact same. But we're going to be looking at the objective today, the one that gives you free players in return. If you are new to these objective guides, all new objectives, we go over, give you guys my tips, tricks. We've got some in-game examples, some in-depth tips as well. We have some like pre-recorded footage where we break it down a little bit. If I do answer as well most of the questions that I have been asked before whilst recording these objective guides, but if I do leave you with any unanswered questions, let me know down below and I'll try and get back to you. Let's get into it, boys. So first of all, you've got assist 4 goals with crosses using players from MLS in squad battles on at least semi-pro difficulty or division rivals. Now, for the sake of the whole video, we're going to be doing this on semi-pro squad battles simply because it's easier. You don't really want to be rocking up with an MLS team into division rivals, do you? Unless you're like feeling a little bit frisky. Fair enough, go ham. But assist 4 goals with crosses, here is how you score a cross. I get lots of questions as well saying, or I say questions, but more so, Davis, my cross is not working. I understand, so here is the clip breaking it down and why it might not be working for you. I get so many comments saying, Davis, my crosses are not counting. Now, one really common mistake that I used to make myself is if you are within a short distance of the player, for example, Betty Pale and Del Piero, they're quite close to each other. Instead of EA registering that as a cross, they register it as a lob pass instead. So for you to get across, you have to keep your distance basically, kind of like outside the box if you will. For EA to register it as a cross, you have to be just far away basically, in short, simple terms. And EA are terrible with this because they've made a lob pass and then obviously a cross the exact same controls, and they don't clarify, but they don't really clarify with it. In my opinion, they should just bin off the crosses objective and just make it say like a lob pass assist, because then that would at least cover both of them. So that is a #1 mistake, and hopefully that helps. Next up, you've got score 10 goals using players from MLS with at least 80 pace in squad battles, self-explanatory. Play 20 matches in squad battles on at least semi-pro difficulty and win 10 of those matches. Now, the play 20 matches is very over the top by EA. Alright, very, very over the top from EA. The win 10 matches, I think they should have just left it at that. But win 10 matches, you get this nice Jones card with at least 7 players from MLS that goes for both, which we do have a squad builder planned in a second. But for the, if you win the first 10 on semi-pro, which lots of you guys will be able to do easily anyway, then for the next 10, you could literally just jam your controller, chuck a film on if you don't really want to play it. If you do want to play it though, I mean, it would be worth it, maybe getting the points, and then you can just maybe just pass it around the back, chuck a film on, something like this. But these objectives, it's going to take you 20 matches, and this only counts in squad battles. You have to complete the full game. You cannot back out, you cannot quit, you have to complete the full 90 minutes. If you do it in rivals, the only way you can get it done quicker than 90 minutes is if your opponent does quit. Honestly, with this one, lads, it is painful. 100% it is painful. But 20 matches, roughly 15 minutes a match. If it's around 15 minutes a match, that would be around 4 matches an hour. And 20 divided by 4 is 5 hours. So these objectives, if you do them in squad battles, will take you 5 hours. If you do them in rivals, maybe 4.5 hours. But that is assuming you get maybe even 2 or 3 rage quits, which with an MLS squad will be quite tricky. Alright, so it's going to be, no matter what, a 4 to 5 hour long objective, this one. Do I recommend doing it? Will I be doing it myself? No. Are you going to do it yourself? And this is why I'm making a video for you? Most likely. And if you do, I respect your commitment, because I'm not saying these are bad cards. I just simply do not have the energy in me to play that much squad battles or rivals with an MLS squad anyway. Now lads, for the squad builder, you need at least 7 MLS players. So these are the 7 MLS players I have chosen. Now you may be like, what do I do with the missing positions? Well, simply you fill them in with your best player. So I'll go through these players first. We've got Insigne at left wing, Joseph Martinez at striker with Luis at right wing. This card's originally a right mid. We did position modify him to a right wing though. The reason we went for the attackers is because you need crosses, MLS crosses, and you need the goals and assists, right? So we've just gone for a full MLS attack, and then we've also gone for the defenders because they look solid. Once again, this makes up the 7. We've gone for a new, I'm going to butcher that. We've got this guy at left back. We've got Aaron Long and Miles Robinson as our centre backs, and we've got Blake in net. As you can see, this is 7 MLS players, so this would get the requirement done. To fill in the rest, what you'd do is simply search your club. Remember, chemistry this year, you can play players on 0 chem and they will still, they'll still play to what your stats say at the minimum. If you do have players from the same league, definitely preferably you'd use them. For example, I've got a La Liga player in Lamar. If I look at my cams, I do not have to use Lamar, if I do not have to use another La Liga player, my Abedi Pele would get full chem, but at right centre mid, if I've got a French player, something like that, we'll go with Valverde, he's also La Liga, and then I'll use a La Liga right back. So that way, at least I've got 1 chem point on my 2 centre mids and right back, and most players are on relatively full chem here. Abedi Pele's on full, all my MLS players except for Blake and this man's on full, and then you've just got the La Liga boys on 1, which is, 25 out of 33 chem is respectable. So just fill in those positions. You'll obviously have different players than me, so fill in those missing positions with the best players in your club. The reason we went for the 4-3-3 4th variation formation is because 1, I want Nakam, that's why I've gone for a 4th variation, and 2, I want the right wing and left wing because having a winger just helps with the crosses objective. Now that leads me into tip number 1, lads, which is going to be the bench. You can make up to 5 subs every single game, alright? So get your I wouldn't use your lone Mbappe in squad battles. Get your best players on the bench ready to sub on, lads. You can make up to, once again, 5 subs. In fact, if you really want to make use of it, you could bring on some defender subs straight away. I could sub on my Rudiger for, say, Aaron Long, something like that. But remember, you can make up to 5 subs a match for this FIFA. So make sure to make use of that if you're losing, if you're struggling, or you could just, give you that extra boost of confidence that you need. Tip number 2, lads, and if you are using players from your main team, like I am with Abedi Pele, Valverde, and Lamar, they'll most likely already have chemistry styles applied. But for the MLS lads, especially the front 3, you'll want to get some chemistry styles on them. If you do want an in-game example of how chemistry styles work, I'm sure most of you know how chem styles work. If not, then this clip is for you. If they do, then skip ahead 60 seconds. Here is an example of how chem styles work. Chemistry styles, in my opinion, are so important, especially for the lower rated players, because it can make them perform a lot better in game. For example, this card right here, he is on 0 out of 3 chemistry points, which means I probably wouldn't worry about putting a chemistry style on him, because as you can see, he gets absolutely no boost whatsoever. Now, Ryan Kent, on the other hand, is on 1 out of 3 chemistry points, which I still think is not so much worth putting a chemistry style, because he only gets +1s on the board, and I think that's just a little bit of a waste. As for players that are 2 out of 3 chemistry points or more though, I do think that is where you're going to want to start getting some chemistry styles on them. For example, Ben Yedder is on 2 out of 3 and he's starting to get some +2s throughout the board. Therefore, I think all of your players that are at least 2 out of 3 chem points, it's worth getting a chemistry style on them. You can do so by going to Apply Consumable and going over to your Chemistry Style tab. There you will see all of the chemistry styles in your club. You've got attacking, midfielders, defending one as well. I would avoid using hunters though, because you don't really want to use that. It's a little bit, in my opinion, a little bit excessive for objectives. Now, this is a prime example of chemistry styles. Player of the month Valverde, who is on 3 out of 3 chemistry points, so the maximum points. As you can see, he's got an engine applied. With this engine attributes boost, he goes to 94 pace in game, roughly 89 or 90 passing. He gets a nice dribbling boost as well. So it just goes to show, get the chemistry styles on your players. I think all of your players that are on at least 2 chemistry points, and it will benefit them in game. So as I said, make sure to get some chem styles going on your strikers. For example, a Hawk would be absolutely perfect for Joseph Martinez, etc, etc. Now the third tip, lads, is going to be custom tactics. As I said, if you want to copy your main team custom tactics for this squad, that would, just help you out, give you that little extra boost in game, which leads me into the final and the fourth tip for today, lads, and that's going to be when it comes to squad battles, what you're going to want to do. Now, whenever you play a squad battles match, or whenever you start to play squad battles, you see 4 different teams, all with different ratings, all with different chemistry. All you want to do is simply choose the team with the worst rating and the worst chemistry. 79 rating, 5 chemistry, by far the worst team in the selection. So we'll go ahead, we'll play this one on semi-pro, which is what is required. If you're better than that, if you're more confident, you can go professional, world class, and get some more points, which will go towards your overall squad battles rank, and you'll get some pretty nice packs at the end of the week. And if you are good enough for world class, you could get maybe elite 3 Elite 2 squad battle rewards by the time you're done these objectives. Now, after you've played that pause squad, what you want to do, and I will circle it, is the update opponents option. This update opponents option refreshes every 15 minutes. So it's like the time it takes to play a game as well. It might even be like 10 minutes every time it refreshes to be able to update your opponents. So what you can do, play a game, and by the time you're finished that game, the refresh opponents will be updated again, and you'll be able to refresh it again. So you play the worst team, refresh, play the worst team, refresh. Only if you're not worried about your squad battles rank. As I mentioned earlier, if you were to play all the games, your squad battles rank will go up significantly. And I'll move my webcam here. If you see that 0 out of 40 matches played for me, if you do refresh, obviously that will go up to 4 out of 40. So only do the player poor team and refresh if you are struggling against the higher teams. Even though it is only on semi-pro, some people still may struggle. And also if you're not worried about your squad battles rank, because if you go past that 40 game limit, then that means your points will no longer count towards your overall squad battles rank. But what it does mean though, or what it doesn't change, I guess you could say, it still counts towards your objectives. So just to recap, assist 4 goals with crosses, make sure you're not too close to each other, because then EA will count that as a lob pass. Score 10 goals using players from the MLS with at least 80 pace, your whole front three, Joseph Martinez, Insigne, and Luis are all at least 80 pace. Play 20 matches with at least 7 MLS players, winning 10 of them. This is just going to be time consuming. Remember lads, super subs if you need them, chemistry styles always help, custom tactics if you have not set them up or you have not copied them from your main team, and make sure to keep playing the worst team and refreshing if you're not comfortable playing the higher rated teams. Remember, it's all only on semi-pro, and I know lots of you guys will be absolutely fine on semi-pro difficulty, but maybe you're new to the game and you're looking at these objectives. Semi-pro might be a little bit difficult, so just make sure you keep refreshing. You've got unlimited attempts. I mean, realistically, at least the only thing that matters is if you use all your refreshes, you no longer get squad battle points towards your rewards, but it still counts towards the objectives. So you've got like unlimited attempts anyway. Good luck, boys. Happy grinding. Any questions, let me know down below. And as I said, any unanswered questions I should clarify, and I will respond. All right, much love, boys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.